What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. It's been a while. Super stoked that you guys are here and that you're tuning in. We have a pretty sweet episode planned. I'm going to be answering some questions that you guys have submitted about what it's like to live with Addison's disease. First and foremost, I feel like, because I post so infrequently on YouTube, you guys are never going to be able to get used to my background because my background always changes because I'm always moving. I really like this background. This is a really sweet set, so I have to keep making videos because I'm really vibing with how this looks. So a couple weeks ago, I put out a questionnaire on my Instagram story asking you guys to give me questions about what it's like to live with Addison's disease. I'm going to cycle through some of these and give my best answer for that question. And I always feel like I have to state this up front, but my goal is not to be giving medical advice. I'm very aware that everybody with Addison's disease, their story is different. We all take different dosages of steroids. We all have different side effects. Some of us don't just have Addison's disease, but we have a thyroid disease. We have all of these other things that could be affecting us. So it's not a one-stop shop with these answers. These are just what I found in my own personal experience. So take all of this with a grain of salt. I'm just here to share my experience. So let's get right into it. Our first question is, did you have to alter your diet / nutritional intake at all once diagnosed? Also, how are you? Thank you for asking how I am. Now, to answer this question, that was actually something I asked my doctor right as I was diagnosed, because I was like, okay, autoimmune disease. I know that most autoimmune diseases, or I don't think any autoimmune diseases, can be cured. So pretty much your whole life is just learning how to manage your symptoms. They didn't give me anything. They said, no food is off limits to you. There's no foods that you should be eating to help manage your disease. And honestly, that's kind of a relief to me because as a 22-year-old at the time, the last thing I wanted to add to my plate, no pun intended, was food that I can't eat or can't eat. Now, I'm sure that there are things out there that you can do diet-wise that can help manage your symptoms. For example, there's a thing called the AIP diet. I'm going to actually pull up the definition of an autoimmune protocol diet so that you guys can have an accurate definition of what it is. An autoimmune protocol diet is a diet that aims to reduce inflammation, pain, and other symptoms caused by autoimmune diseases such as lupus, inflammatory bowel disease, celiac disease, in our case, autoimmune or Addison's disease. So my understanding of this diet is you're avoiding inflammatory foods or foods that can create, inflamed organs and glands or whatever in your body. So the whole point, most autoimmune diseases are based on, a part of your body is inflamed. So naturally avoiding those, foods that cause that is a thing that you could do to reduce your symptoms. Now, I did try this diet for like a month and it just wasn't for me. Usually if you know me, when I set my eyes on something, I go like 100% into it. I don't just kind of take baby steps. So that's what I did with this diet. I just went 100% and then cut out everything else that I wasn't supposed to be eating, and naturally it wasn't sustainable for me and I didn't do it. So that is something that you could try, is the AIP diet. Other than that, I haven't changed my diet in any other way other than eating clean and eating my vegetables, eating my fruits, and trying to avoid, processed foods. Our second question is, do you like your endocrinologist? Mine isn't the best and I need a new one. Sad face. I do really enjoy my endocrinologist. I luckily am here living in Raleigh, North Carolina, which has Duke Medical Facility. And I think this area is actually called the Research Triangle. So this place is known for, very high-end or providing high-end medical care. So I got very lucky with that. I did a lot of research on findmydoctor.com or something, and it basically gives you a review system of a bunch of different doctors and different specialties and stuff. And I cycled through the website and found a endocrinologist that I love. She has an 8-month waiting list, so it's really hard to get in, but you only need to see an endocrinologist every year is what they recommend after you've established your care and you have your disease under control. So that's not a huge deal, but she's been awesome. She's worked with me in managing my medications. At one point every 3 months we were changing, my dosages to try and like manage my symptoms the best, because I was having nausea and just a few other symptoms. So she was more than willing to like move things around, and then I'd get some blood tests, and then we'd like go back to the medications and keep moving stuff around. So she's amazing. I cannot suggest that enough, is like find an endocrinologist that listens to you, that you can build a really good relationship with, where communication is open. That's very, very, very important. So if you take anything from this video, fight for a good endocrinologist. I'll try and find that website that I used to find mine, and I'll link it down in the description so you guys can use that and surf through it and see if you can find a good endocrinologist in your area. All right, here's the next question. 2 people actually asked this. I'll read both of them and put them up here. But one of them says, on your camping adventures, do you ever feel nervous being so far from the ER? And then another question that's very similar to that said, what's it like traveling, being in the backcountry and away from services when you have Addison's? This is a really good question. When I was first diagnosed and I started to read up on the disease and everything, one of my biggest concerns was the change in lifestyle that I may or may not have to make regarding my love for travel. One of the things that you always want to, keep on top of is your medications and making sure you're getting your proper dosages, because something that can happen with, Addison's disease is if you're missing doses, you could go into an adrenal failure, which is not good. And if you go into an adrenal failure and you have to, shoot yourself with that syringe, you have to go to the emergency room to, replace your fluids and get you on like a steroid IV, all that good stuff that we don't want to do ever again. If you're traveling and you're far away from an emergency room or a hospital or any type of care, that's something you have to be extra on top of and really paying attention to avoid any possible incidents that could occur. Very recently, I went on a backcountry canoe trip in northern Minnesota in the Boundary Waters, and we paddled in 50 miles. You don't have service out there. Like there's no nothing. So one thing that we did to ensure just kind of like, a little safety net is we have this Garmin InReach thing, which is just a satellite communicator. We'd press this button, which would send out like a GPS pinpoint to like a group text of our friends and family. And it would tell us where we are via satellite. So if anything went wrong and they didn't hear from us, they would know our last known location. And then it also sends out like a text like, hey, all good, finishing day 2. Everybody's good. You can also actually press a button on there it'll send out a satellite thing for search and rescue. So if you really get into a bad spot, you have that safety net as well. Another more practical thing that I do to ensure that, I'm not gonna need to even use that GPS satellite thing is I split my medication out between like 5 different people. So since we were in the canoe in the backcountry, pills, like oral pills and water don't go well together. So, if my canoe capsized, and my pills were to get wet, they would just dissolve, which would suck. And I'd be without pills 50 miles away from anything. I bought a bunch of these things. They're like little canisters that you can like unscrew here. I can't really do it with one hand, but you unscrew it and you put a bunch of pills in these, and they have like a little key ring on them. They're super cheap. I think I got like 8 of them for like $10, and I just put them in everybody's packs. So the chances of 4 canoes sinking and losing all the pills were very slim. So that is something that also gave me incredible peace of mind, is knowing that if I lost my pills, Johnny would have pills that I could just pull from. Before we even, left town, as I got everybody around and I said, hey, this is where I'm keeping my syringe. This is how you use it. Here's where you need to inject me, so that everybody had an idea of how to use this thing in case something went wrong. So between those 3 things, a GPS satellite communicator, spreading out all my pills between everybody who's on the trip, and then teaching everybody how to use my injection kit, I feel like I have my bases covered. I had a little bit of anxiety in the beginning, but after going on, 3-4 trips and just having it down, that really helped ease a lot of the anxiety that I was feeling. I will also link these things down in the description. So if you want to pick some of these up just to even stash in your car, in your backpack, at your office, whatever, you can do that because they work great. They're really low profile. You can really just stash them anywhere. With that, thank you guys so much for tuning into today's video. If you enjoyed the video, let me know down in the comments. Maybe give this video a like and consider subscribing if you want to see more content like this. I'll catch you guys in the next video.